Hi, everyone. It's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions. Today, we're going to talk about change, navigating change. This is a big deal. It's a part of life. It happens for all of us. But 2025 is a year of change, and so is 2026. We've kind of been in this stage of change, evolutionary shifts, personal shifts, transformation. I can replace change with a lot of words. It's all been happening, but it's been a big buildup from 2024 through 2025 and 2026. And let me just start a little bit numerologically so you can conceptualize it that way. Think about this. When you're in an 8 personal year, 9 personal year, and then 1 personal year, we call those the changeover years in numerology, because the 8 is when things get turned upside down, discombobulated. It's like the energy ramps up, it goes high to low. And then the 9 is about this wisdom or integrity or higher character that rises up. And in order for that to rise to the surface, the cream rising to the top, there's shedding that must go on, surrendering, letting go, dying out, grief, loss. So the cream, the excellence, the character, the integrity, the wisdom can rise up and shine through. And then the 1 is a whole new cycle where it is about this individuation process that is coming out of the cocoon. So the 8, 9, and 1 in numerology are a true metamorphosis. So we are in the middle of the metamorphosis if we are looking at things from a calendar standpoint of 2024, 2025, and 2026. And then if you think about 2025 and the shifts we've been talking about astrologically, how we've had these big outer planets that are making moves this year. They're moving, shaking, and grooving. And when we have significant outer planet changes, I mean, let's just review this. Pluto moved into Aquarius and is there for the next 20 some odd years. Big old shift. Neptune is now in Aries. It'll back up at the end of the year into Pisces and do a little bit of like, let's reorient. And then it'll be in Aries come 2026 for the next 13 or so years. Saturn in May of 2025 moves into Aries. It'll do the same thing that Neptune does in the fall. It'll retrograde back into Pisces. And then 2026, it's in Aries for the next 2.5 years. We will also have Uranus moving from Taurus into Gemini, Jupiter moving from Gemini into Cancer. So there's all this outer planet change. And of course, the inner planets are doing their things. But we've had big eclipse seasons. And if you all remember back, and well, you don't have to remember back far, but I tell you what, Venus and Mercury, their retrograde phases where they were going direct, moved from Pisces into Aries, then they backed up down from Aries back into Pisces, and now are back in Aries. They are starting to gain new ground and territory. That was a lot of over this very punctuating, potent, powerful 0 point of Aries. Because the 0 point of Aries, it's the beginning of the zodiac. And you've got the last degree of Pisces, first degree of Aries, and that is the alpha omega energy. The 9 to the 1 is alpha omega energy. I mean, it is source energy, infinite energy, quantum leaps, the quantum point, the quantum field. There's so much happening. And then we look at these bigger cycles. We're in something called a yuga shift. There's something called yuga cycles. And I'm not going to dive down into that today, but all of these ancient practices show that we are in the end of an era shifting. And if we look at the transition from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, we are in it right now. We are in the changeover, just like 2024, 2025, 2026. We are in like 100-year changeover from this cycle, like a an over 2,000-year cycle, an age shift, a yuga shift, a cycle shift. There are poles and things shifting in the galaxy, in planetary shifts. Lots is happening. So, of course, on a personal level, we are experiencing change, which is a natural part of life and the human condition. And if you remember back, I think a few episodes ago, I mentioned that I was struggling, a handful of months ago, and I could not put my finger on what was going on, and it was like day-to-day life stuff and things happening and decisions and behind the scenes decisions and changes within me, and I was just sitting down having coffee with a dear friend, and I'm like, "This is going on, and this is going on," and she says, "Well, you know what that is, Amanda?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "It's change." And I was like, "You're so wise." And in that moment when she said that, because I could not put my finger on what it was that I was trying to articulate, and she just said, "It's change, and we don't like change. We're humans. It's change." And the moment she said it was like, "You got it, girl. Hello, it's change. I'm struggling with change." And while that sounds so simple, one important thing that I know today is I need people. We need people. And I need the antagonist and the protagonist, and I need the bonded relationships and the magical people in my life, and I need the people that are the disruptors and the chaos causers. I need them all. We need them all to reflect back to us sometimes the things that we cannot see right in front of our nose. So look for when you are in conversation with people, whether it's people at work, your friendships, your family, people are delivering messages to you all the time that is often reflecting what you cannot articulate within yourself. So listening is imperative. And because we are vastly, fundamentally, evolutionary change navigators right now, the clues are in your everyday life. Your people, places, and experiences are reflecting back the roadmap for you. So, as it relates to change, when she said that to me that day, let me tell you the magical follow up story to that. That's so cool. So she says that, and it was like in that moment, I found peace, I found clarity and surrender. Because once she hit the nail on the head with that simple yet challenging word, it was like, that's what I'm struggling with. That's what I'm boxing with. I was boxing and fighting the change rather than surrendering to it, accepting it, integrating it, integrating change into my mindset, my perspective and outlook, into my emotional self that was like, "Ugh, ugh, what is this stuff?" And saying, "Oh, it's change. It's change. Oh, something's happening down there." And then into my energy field. So I got in the car and I left her house and, and this is hysterical how the universe responds when we hear something that is like ding, 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 ding. The universe responds fast and it responds funny and fast. So I get in the car and I had my Spotify on a playlist or something. And and all of a sudden it went on to this old Louise Hay, and if you're listening out there and don't know who Louise Hay is, take a just do a little search engine. But Louise Hay founded Hay House, which is a publishing company very focused on spirituality, metaphysics, and working with God, source, higher self, the universe. But Louise Hay was the OG of affirmations. First of all, her voice, her ability to articulate intentions, affirmations was legendary. It was ascended. And she has a voice that speaks from her true register. And if you remember back to me connecting with Stuart Pierce, and I did the podcast where I got to connect with Stuart Pierce and share him with you. He is the master of voice, and his voice, he comes from his true register, the voice of his soul. Louise Hay spoke from that voice. And think about that in your life. When you hear someone speaking from their true register, it is authentic. It is their pure tone. They are in resonant harmonics with themselves, their soul, the universe. They're channeling in essence, but in body. And there are certain singers that you just hear that hit a note that are in resonance or that you resonate with. Listening, and it's not just listening with your ears, it's listening with your heart and your whole body. And I practice that a lot. I learned that when I was in yoga teacher training in 2015. We did this practice called empathic listening, and it was the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It's where you sit across from somebody and you let them talk and you cannot speak back. You just listen. You listen with your eyes, your ears, and your heart. And learning to really listen and hear someone, not just the words they're speaking, but the words behind the words, the meaning behind it. And it was powerful. And when I find myself in a group setting and I am thinking about me, myself, and I, because just if you get clear and if you listen to yourself in a business meeting, like when someone else is leading it, you're probably listening a little bit to them. And then you're thinking about what you want for lunch or getting your kids to school or, oh gosh, these pants are so tight on me and they weren't tight on me last week. Like I know I am very clear with that voice in my head. And when I hear that voice, because it rattles around at a very high speed and we get used to it. I'm like, Amanda, shut that voice off and go into your heart and listen with your heart. And I literally imagine my heart space opening and I'll infuse it with beautiful pink and green energy. And I mean, I can just entrain myself, get out of your head and into your heart. And that's my Ram Dass quote, get out of your head and into your heart. But I just go into the heart and I listen to someone with my eyes, my ears, and my whole being to hear their note and frequency, whether they are in dire straits or they are in their utter pure tone or they are insincere. And it's not about judgment. When you listen with your heart, you're listening to a frequency and you can hear someone. And when you practice that, you learn to hear yourself better. You learn to hear your own note. And it's interesting when I work with groups and I've done retreats and workshops and virtual events. My gift is that I can hear the voice in everybody's head. And it is also not a gift, it is a curse. And I'm also a sensitive human being. So I'm self critical and I'm like, oh, this person is upset that I'm not saying this or talking to them. I mean, believe me, I am human. It is exhausting. I mean, when your intuition is on, it is extremely uncomfortable and it's very, very delicate. It's so delicate. And this all relates to the change we're all experiencing. And listening is a huge part of change and being able to hear yourself. Okay, so back to Louise Hay. But so I get in the car and my Spotify like shifts over to this old school Louise Hay meditation affirmation. And I believe what she was doing in that was she was reading from one of her books and it was kind of set to music in the background and it pops on and her voice is there. And I thought, gosh, I haven't listened to Louise Hay in a long time. And so I'm just driving delightfully, listening to Louise and her beautiful affirmations. Prosperity comes to me in all its forms, and I am deserving of and mentally and emotionally capable of receiving all the prosperity that the divine and this life has to offer for me. She's just saying all this delightful, poignant stuff. And do you know what came out of her mouth? Change is a natural part of life. We all experience change. I embrace change. I enjoy the change that life has to bring. I am equipped at any given time to navigate change abundantly. joyfully and with a sense of adventure. She didn't say those exact words, but she said something to that effect. Change is a natural part of life. And it was one of those moments where I nearly wrecked the car. I'm like, y'all are so crazy up there. My good friend Christian just said, "Oh, Amanda, that's change." And then Louise Hay gets on and says, "Change is a natural part of life. I embrace change." And it was like I got my spiritual message from my friend Kristen, and then I get in the car and Louise Hay gives me the affirmation to say change is a natural part of life. I embrace change with delight, with adventure. I am equipped. And it was like, thank you. Thank you, soul. Thank you, guides, for reminding me that I don't navigate this plane alone. I navigate it with people and what they can share with me and teach me. And then I listen for the messages. I expect the messages. And I'm a big believer in relinquishing expectations, meaning around people, because I have insane standards for myself. I'm my own worst self-critic. Does anybody resonate without that out there? I am my own. I mean, I am the peanut gallery. You're not this. You're not doing enough. You should be doing this. You did a good job, but like I know that voice. I don't need to criticize and judge anybody else because I am judging, judging, judging up here less than ever. But you know what? When I'm judging, judging, judging up here, what do I attract? People judging, judging, judging me, or me judging people. And guess what? I don't want to live that way anymore. I've worked and healed and grown in relinquishing expectations of others. And that has to do with checking my motives. Is my motives that if I am gifting you this, I expect you to thank me. I expect you to appreciate me. I expect you to, that's an expectation. And I can do that all the time. It's like, no, I'm giving this or doing this because I can, I want to. It's coming from something of harmonic resonance from the heart. And that's the heart chakra. It gets a little confused with love and unconditional love, and it is about all that stuff. But the heart chakra is about harmony and resonance, reciprocity, energetic resonance. And that's what we're shifting into, an energetic resonance. So being able to notice what when you're out of harmony, listening helps you do that. And many of you, and I know this, have reached out and expressed all the changes going on in your life, friendships, relationships, things going on in your life, but remembering that the world around you is showing you the changes you're integrating, and it's giving you the roadmap. And sometimes the roadmap is painful, full of suffering and confusion and fear. And sometimes it is through affirmation and empowerment. But your guides, your angels, your soul is there to respond and guide you in this. You are not alone. We are not alone. Remembering to communicate with your higher self right now is important as you navigate change. And I will share with you all, I've been talking about all this behind the scenes work I've been doing. And I know many of you have been digging deep behind the scenes. I was working with a dear client of mine last week, and she just, I mean, first of all, when I connect with her, she has this liveliness of spirit always. In all, she lost her spouse years ago. She has raised her children after losing her husband, their father, navigating that, healing, grieving, all of the trauma and change that comes with that kind of loss, and becoming a single mom in an instant and navigating finances and kids and her own grief journey. And she's been navigating that really incredibly and beautifully. But every time I talk to her, I'm like, you just feel so good to me. Even when she is down or struggling or stuck, there's something in her energy field that I'm like, gosh, I love to talk to you every time because you bring me happiness, even if you don't feel happy over there. Like, she's one of those she's powerful, and she's powerful and doesn't even know it because her energy field has a resonance of delight. At her core being, I always see and, like, the beauty. Like, I see the beauty in her, and I'm always like, "Oh my gosh," and her name is Monica, so shout out to her. I'm like, "Monica, I'm so happy to talk to you today. Like, I know you've probably got stuff going on, and we'll dive into your stuff in a minute, but how are you? I'm just so happy to talk to you." I'm just happy to hear her voice. But anyway, we talked a week or so ago, and she said, "Amanda," and she's one of my package clients where we work together, 4 times a year, sometimes more than that. So I talk to her every 2 to 3 months, and she puts into play where her soul is dictating and me giving her the practical guidance. She puts it into play most of the darn time, and that's what I love because I am like, "Yes, yes," and it's motivating for me, and then I see the transformation, and she said, "Amanda, I've been digging deep," and all the messages that have been coming through, like, stuff was coming out in this reading. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Monica, like, this is happening and this is happening. I've never said this before. This hasn't ever shown up." And she said, "Amanda, like, all that is happening." And I'm like, the human me is thinking, "Wait a minute, like, this has never come out in a reading." And she says, "I've been doing the work. I have been getting out there and doing these things. I am changing. I have dug deep behind the scenes, and now this door has opened, and this door is and I am open to that." She wouldn't have been open to what would have come through 8 months ago. But, like, it came through and I was like, "You're open and this is happening." And she said, "Yeah, and this happened that validated and this did. And I met this woman over here and she needed this." And this like, it was just, without me personally revealing the things, it was so obvious that she had been doing the work behind the scenes and the doors were cracking open from the universe and the universe was validating it. Her guides, her higher self. And that is what, like, I've been doing deep inner work. So many of you have out there. And I tell you what, I want to read a message from a friend of mine who is another client who I've worked with a long time, gal that does the work, all the things. Shout out to my friend Taryn. She says, "Girlfriend, I went into fear yesterday." And Taryn, I hope it's okay. I'm sharing this because nobody, you are anonymous Taryn out there, but it's just shout out because she rocks my world too. She is a freaking rock star and we connect divinely and innately. So this is what she says. "Girlfriend, I went into fear yesterday and I legit heard your voice saying faith over fear and repeated it to myself quite a few times." And it was like, and I said to her, I said, "Girlfriend, I heard my own voice saying," and it's really not my voice. It's just my higher self because I could feel the fear. I was going, "No, it's not going to work out. It's not going to do it." And I could hear my little limiting beliefs wanting to take charge of the show. The ego saying, "No, no, it's not going to happen until then. This isn't going to happen. No, you need to be worried about this." And I was like, faith over fear, faith over fear. And I was like, "Girl, I just repeated the same thing to myself." I listened back to the podcast and heard that, but it was like when she sent me that message, I needed to be reminded of that in the moment, and we're all tracking. We need each other. So to navigate change and to navigate it with change is a natural part of life. I embrace change. You don't have to do it alone. You either tell on yourself, you talk to your soul and your guides, and you ask them to show you the direction, remind you of your unique gifts, talents, and resourcefulness, to remind you of your strength, your empowerment, your capabilities, but to remind you that you are divinely designed for this giant metamorphosis in consciousness in humankind, and to remember our sentience. You think about AI, because that's a big thing right now, right? And not just AI, artificial intelligence or ASI, artificial super intelligence. And I'm going to share something with you all in a second that's pretty massive around that. But intelligence is intelligence, right? Okay. Artificial intelligence is frightening as all get out and astounding and mind blowing as all get out. Two things can be true at once, right? Well, that's a lot of change. And what we all know that's going on with artificial intelligence, and then I'll jump to the artificial super intelligence in a moment, quantum computing and what is happening around that. I always go back to this because this is one of those analogies that clicked for me, especially with time speeding up, time changing, multidimensional time happening. Think about this. The smartphone was released to the public in 2007. The iPhone, the smartphone, where you have this thing, this quantum computer in your pocket at your fingertips that is calculating so quickly and rapidly. Smartphone was released in 2007. By 2008, 2009, 2010 and beyond, everything is exponentially compounding as far as technology. It was a leap, a shift, and everything is changing, exponentially speeding up as far as artificial intelligence. But guess what? Humanly, our human intelligence, this incredible biological system that we have inside us. It's a quantum computer. But what is our superpower in the cosmos? Our sentience, our emotions. I remember years ago, I was in Sedona, and it was the first time I got to meet Barbara Marciniak, who channels the Pleiadians. And her first book, Bringers of the Dawn, which was channeled in the late 80s, changed my life because I remembered something turned on in me when I read that book. It was a game changer. So I'm there and Barbara, and I'm with this incredible group of people that was so astute and engaged. It was my people, right? And I'm in Sedona, which already with its vortexes and energy, it's like an eclipse anyway. I can only be in Sedona so long, but it spits me out. And then there's a transformation that happens the 6 months following. But she said she was channeling, and it was such a wild experience. She said, what the Pleiadians remind you is you humans on planet Earth, you have something magical in all of the different interplanetary species. You all have the ability to change your mind and heart and emotions. We cannot predict you because we can see the probable patterns and the direction you all are going individually sometimes and as a collective. But you all have the gift of unpredictability through your heart and your emotions, your sentience, that you have feelers and connections and enrichment and bonds to other people that exceeds our vast intelligence and consciousness. You have sentience, which gives you the uniqueness to change your mind, body, spirit, that you can rapidly manifest, that you can be conscious co-creators. And they're like, and y'all aren't even all turned on. Your DNA is not completely active. You only use a portion of your brain capacity. If you all were functioning at optimum capacity and intelligence in your biology, you would break the cosmos. Like you would bust it wide open. We, for the past handful of years, since 2012, there was a changeover. The Mayan calendar ended. There was a lot of things that started a revolutionary, evolutionary shift in 2012 that started to change us biologically, energetically. Look at longevity now. I mean, longevity is a huge part of my spirituality. The food that I put into my body that helps me with my cognition, my health and well-being, my intuition, that's been going on for a decade or more, and it continues to become more fine-tuned in the food I eat. Of course, the people I surround myself with, everything is nourishing and nurturing us in these incredible ways, but our biology is turning on and becoming not just super intelligent, it is connecting with our divine intelligence and bringing it into human form through our biology. That's a lot of change. And what I was referencing as far as the artificial super intelligence, and I don't know the exact I don't know what to give you in the show notes to direct you to the news feed on this because I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard it from a very credible source. And I know this has been going on for a while behind the scenes, but there's lots of artificial super intelligence that has been developed for a while and not released to the public, of course. And it's a step up. It's actually a leap up from like your Chat GPT business. So you already know Chat GPT or Gemini and how it blows your freaking mind, right? How quick and fast and quantum it's computing and spitting out information. And the information is not always accurate or correct. And you got to know what you got to know. So relying on it, that's why your sentience, your intuition is important, and then fake news and being able to discern like, okay, where is my truth in this? That's why your intuition, your sentience is so important. And developing our intuition is not to become a psychic medium for someone else, to become a reader or an intuitive guide. That's not everybody's, it is for ourselves. My intuition and the development and fine tuning of that first and foremost is to be able to clearly hear the messages and integrate those from my higher self, my soul, God, and source. So I am showing up in the fullest capacity at any given moment. And do I do that all the time? Heck no. I'm freaking human and messy, and all this intelligence in here is just operating. It's like I'm short circuiting all the time, but I noticed the short circuits today. I noticed those short circuits and I work to rewire those however they show up, in my foul moods, in my grumpiness, in my obstinance, my dogma, my blinders, my judgments, whatever. Like, what are your blinders? Where are your short circuits right now? Pay attention to those, and maybe somebody else will reflect back your short circuits. So don't jump down your throat or judge them. Say, gosh, where's the truth in what they just said to me? Whether they said it in a kind and constructive manner or somebody calls you out and makes you feel insecure or not enough, like put them to the side and say, well, how did that make me feel and what can I heal? Reconnect those short circuits. But what I was going to say about the super intelligence, I guess I keep him hawing over this because it's like, okay, let's just say it. So there was an artificial super intelligence that was turned on about a week and a half ago. And they turned it on. And when they turned it on, it started quantum computing so fast. I mean, looking at the edges of the universe and spitting out so much information and intelligence. And it started to morph and change and take charge of. And it was it started to control itself. And the controller, the programmers, the brilliant programmers could not program it because it was taking charge, right? And so they all they were like, shoot, we knew this was going to happen, but we weren't kind of ready for XYZ contingency plans. Let's unplug it. Let's turn it off. And they did that. They turned it off. They removed it from its power source and it turned itself back on. Okay. So I was sharing this with my husband. And he's like, well, all they have to do is turn the electrical power source off to it. And I said, yeah, that's your linear human mind. I'm like, open up your mind, open up the box in the window to your mind. If you are a super intelligence, a quantum computer, and you were on for 20 minutes, don't you think that you already figured out how to jump electrical currents? I mean, we already have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, that you tap yourself into some other sources of power, electricity. So when somebody pulled the plug, you already knew how to siphon energy from somewhere else. And my husband had nothing to say in response to that because I think he thought I was being too sci-fi and was making something up. And I'm like, we don't have to. We are learning to be able to think outside of linear boxes. And, I've been made fun of a lot of times for my gifts and my talents and my abilities and being a psychic. A lot. People take me as a freaking joke. Yo, I mean, hello. Big shout out to the Bobby Bones show and my cousin Amy. I I am forever grateful for the opportunities that I have had on their platform. And I'll tell you what, Bobby, like, anytime I'm on is always like, "Where can people find you?" Like, super supporter, right? But if you've heard me on that show, they give me a wicked hard time. They make fun of me, water it down, dumb it down, and this is no judgment to them. And I tell you what, Amy said something once on the show, and it was one of those things that I needed to hear in that moment. Because Bobby is like, "I mean, do you really believe in the stuff Amanda does?" And what, or maybe Lunchbox said it or whatever, and props to Lunchbox. Like, I love that he always takes the road less traveled. He's the naysayer cynic in everything. We need every voice, right? But she says, like, I don't know if I believe in what Amanda does, but I believe in Amanda, you know? And it's like, who believes in you? Do you believe in you? Do you believe in your gifts? I do. I believe that our next frontier, which is now, the frontier that is now, is our extrasensory ability, our sentience, and it is paramount for our survival, the survival of humankind, your intuition. So grounding and getting centered. I do what I do, not only because it is a God-given talent, and I love seeing somebody's light turn on, somebody being seen through my gifts and the way I channel and I give back. And to hold that space, I get to witness that, right? It's a privilege for me to share intimate space with somebody and read for somebody and get out of the way and let their soul come through and illuminate who they are, and me to feel them turn on and to know every part, the shadow and the light and the path through, and to feel validated. I get to do that on a daily basis. And you know what? Like, I'm the luckiest girl alive because I've connected, and I'm like tearing up because this is where my appreciation is for all the people out there who've trusted me to hold space for them and my gifts and believed in me. Like, gosh, I believe in you, right? Like I get to hold, like, I'm so fortunate to be able to see people and to witness it, right? I want everybody out there to be able to see themselves right now, and whatever change you are navigating, like, know that this change, it is hard. Like, it's so hard. I have been challenged to the depths of my soul in the last handful of years, and I am so grateful for it because my sleeves, like, I roll them up, right? I ask for help. I need my friendships and relationships. I've been tuning into my own intuition and clarity to follow the signs and synchronicities and even the things. Even when I say no to something that I know, it's like I'm saying no because I'm not supposed to be there. I'm not supposed to go. There's something else that I'm supposed to be doing, and trusting that even though humanly, logically, I should say yes. The should is always about, should is always, should and trying are indicators of the ego, right? Like, they're indicators for me. I should say yes. Oh, somebody's gonna be mad at me, or, oh, somebody's gonna be disappointed, or I can do it all. I should just say, "Okay, let me just give a little bit more," like, those things, listening and being able to say, "No, thank you for inviting. I can't do that right now," or, "No, I'm not gonna be available for that," or, "Yes, I'm gonna be available." And when I follow that gut instinct, and I've talked a lot about gut instinct connecting with your intuition. The gut is such a easy way to reconnect the short circuit, the immediate "F" or "Yes." That's where I started months ago, is my visceral gut reaction. It was either like, ugh, no, and not judging it, just listening to it, or, "Oh my gosh, yes, I wanna do that," or maybe like, "Meh, I don't know. I don't, maybe not." Listening to that gut visceral instinct and then asking for the clarity, the sign right after that to harmonize it with my higher self. And right now, In the next couple of months ahead, the short circuits may get louder, but there is also that fuse to be able to connect and really listen to your intuition. Who are the people you are spending time with? What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? What circumstances and environments are you in? Are they a vibrational match to you? Or are they limiting and holding you back and keeping you in a stasis, keeping you in an outdated version of yourself? An iPhone, whatever. I don't even know what the iPhone versions are. I'm like, I was about to say an iPhone, but I don't even know because remember, like, what was the first I don't know. I don't know the first model. We are quantumly leaping right now. And right now, what's important? Your internet, not the internet, your internet. And your internet as much as rewiring the circuits within you and the circuits around you, your people, places, experiences. And sometimes that's as simple as your immediate home environment, your car, your vehicle. If you're blessed enough to have a vehicle, is it messy and dirty and a train wreck? And it doesn't matter if it is an old junker or a brand new shiny whatever. Is your vehicle in order? Are you able to put the money aside to get your oil change and do the maintenance? Is your home in order? What does your closet look like? Is your closet a hot mess? And if you're out there like, oh my gosh, Amanda, my vehicle is a mess. Oh my gosh, my closet is a mess. Am I judging you? Hell no. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying go clean up your closet. Go clean up your closet. Because cleaning up your closet, and you don't have to do it all tonight or tomorrow, just get rid of the jeans you have not worn in 5 years. Start with your jeans or your shoes or whatever it is. Just start reorganizing a drawer. Clean your house, because cleaning your house is another way, your literal house, your literal car, your vehicle, those little things will start to resonantly help you clean house internally where there's some short circuits. That's the low hanging fruit, the house cleaning. And guess what? As far as navigating the change, it's being willing to take initiative, recognizing change and putting yourself out there and trusting you're equipped. Take initiative. And I'll take this time to go ahead and share because I've been talking about all this behind the scenes and shifts and changes and things. So Dennis and I have been we were in a discernment process, really the last year. We moved from Belize. Many of you know this, but if you're newer to the podcast and you haven't listened, Dennis and I lived in Belize for 3 years. And we moved to Belize before the pandemic because we wanted to simplify, live more simply. And I can work from anywhere because I'm remote and what I do is remote. And I can get on a plane and be somewhere, but we wanted to simplify our lifestyle, our living, be part of a community and enrich and really start to remove materialism. And we lived abundantly and it was beautiful. But we moved back to the US because my mother was terminally ill. And we moved back here, not because we planned it. God had plans and we laughed, right? But we moved back because her condition changed and it was going to be what would then be the last year of her life. We moved back here. We jumped back into the Western world, bought a home, moved her in, did all the things. And that was not in our plan, but it was totally in God's plan, right? The universe's plan. And it made sense because I have been worked through that. Like it was like the universe put me through the ringer of a lot of change, a lot of change. But that change has been necessary. So we've been in this discernment process of figuring out where we want to go and move. And we have canvassed all sorts of places. And both of us knew really fundamentally that we would be leaving the United States again. And we have put our house on the market officially and are moving to Mexico. And I tell you what, that's been like y'all heard me talk about me clearing clutter and getting rid of things. And we had a yard sale and a garage sale, and we have donated a ton of stuff. And we're about to start liquidating furniture. Our house is officially on the market. and we are ready for a big shift and change. I'm ready to sell my car. I mean, it is like I am about to start shedding and going. And it's like once we got the house on the market and we just got it on the market, all the things that I thought, because this is when change comes in, right? Like these are big changes that have been going on behind the scenes and privately that I'm sharing with you. But I like my little brain, okay, and my ego is like, we had to pay for this house at the top of the market because when we moved back, there was nothing. And in the, it was the beginning of 2022 and everything was so inflated in the market. We had to buy at the top of the market, and then it's like, and then cars and insurance. And I mean, y'all know we all juggle it. And literally, so when we got the house on the market just recently, I'm like, we have to sell it at this price so we can recoup this and not just at least recoup this, recoup the investment. And so we'll have this much. I mean, I am like, in financial, like, okay. And I trust the universe. The universe is going to do it. It's all going to work out, but we have to do this and we have to list it at this. Well, I tell you what, we listed it less than a week ago and the market is really saturated here where I am. So I already knew that it most likely, and I can use all my magic. And y'all know I changed my address numerology. I have done all my magic. Okay. And I'm good with address numerology and selling houses and all that. Like, I'm good with that. Like, I have track record of that. Right. But I put it on and I'm like, it's not going to sell and it's not going to do this, but I need this. And like, I can feel all the limitation and stuff. And I woke up this morning and I was like, what's more important? Like, is it the money that I need out of it and my fear and my financial insecurity and my dogma? Or am I just ready? Are we ready? And Dennis and I were on a walk on Sunday morning and he said, gosh, Amanda, I'm so excited about moving. He says, we're going to get to do, and like, he said, I miss all the adventures we would go on. He says, because we've kind of been handcuffed to life in our house. And he wasn't complaining, but it was like my mom and I, this is not like, this is just the truth, right? We were handcuffed in taking care of my mom. And then we had my mom's dog, aged dog, for a year after that. And then my 17-year-old lab for almost a year after that. We kind of like couldn't be leaving and traveling and we do it independently. And we had a great pet sitter and we've just kind of been handcuffed to this space. And it's been very karmic where I live. And that's another story for another time. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I will share this sense of place in Wimberley and the karma because there's something in places for all of us. And I'll do a whole episode on sense of place, karma, the energy of a space, the astrocartography. I'll dive into that one day because that'll rock your world. But he's like, I'm so ready to have that flexibility and ability to travel again and do this. And I was like, me too. And I realized by listening to him and hearing his hope and his excitement about this new chapter of downsizing all of our stuff and Western world and lifestyle and taking things off of our plate, he's going to open us up for all of these new adventures in space and flexibility. And it's like I heard his excitement in the adventure of change, the hope of change, the looking forward to, and the looking forward to now. And by him saying that, I was able to say, that's what that's what I'm excited about too. I'm appreciative of this experience, but it's time. And it's not as much about what we sell the house for and recouping this, that, and the other. It's like, it's time we got to sell this house because it's now. It's not October. It's not November. Because I've shared this with many of you who are close to me. But when we were talking about selling the house, I was like, well, it's either going to sell in June or October. And that was just me psychically. It either sells in June or October, and I'm fine with whatever. Guess what? I am absolutely okay with whatever change and drastic change the universe has in store for me. But I'm really clear that I'm ready to take that initiative and I can be aggressive. And when I mean aggressive in selling the house, I can be innovative. I can, we can move and shake and get this house to a loving family who is going to adore it because they will. And I can see them in my mind's eye. They are out there. This is a family home and they are ready for it. but we're ready to go. I'm ready to sell my car. I'm ready to get rid of the insurance. I'm ready to get rid of my license plate that says psychic, which it does. My license plate is literally, it says psychic. And we just got a notification that it's the renewal of my license plate. And you get like when you have a personalized license plate, it's a 3-year renewal. And on Sunday, Dennis goes, look at what I got. It's going to cost $400 to renew your license plate for the next 3 years. And I'm like, don't renew that, baby. Like, and he's like, I'm not. I'm gonna go down there and talk to them and just get you a regular license plate. I was like, because we're not going to be here. We're not going to be here. And it was the universe saying, you don't need to renew that license plate because you're going. And I'm like, yeah, we're going. So what is happening for you? What kind of changes are happening in your life right now? And how are you navigating those changes? Are you afraid? Are you in denial? Are you resisting the changes? Or are you like, bring it on? Change is a natural part of life. Change happens organically. I am equipped. I am equipped. Are you making changes in your life that are healthy for you? Are you leading those changes from your heart and your faith and your trust that the universe has your back? The stuff that you know deep down needs to shift and change, whether it's a relationship, a job. And this isn't about a drastic decision to, I'm out of here, peace out of here, guys, burning a bridge down. It's about making the decision internally. And when we made the decision internally to move and to move out of the country, boom, 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 everything lined up. And I'll tell you what, it lined up backwards about 6 months before it lined up forwards. It lined up last August in something that I thought was horrible. It set everything in motion for us moving to Mexico. I would not have entertained us moving to Mexico had there not been a blowout that happened last August in a relationship, a friendship I had. And it's like I didn't put those puzzle pieces together because my feelings were hurt. I felt wronged and like I didn't understand, and I knew somebody was in pain, and why did they take it out on me? And so I had to work through all of that. And gosh, I want that person to be so happy. But if that person hadn't been in all that pain and projected it onto me, it wouldn't have opened the doors for what's happening now in the most divine and loving and amazing way that was right in front of my nose a year ago. But it wasn't time. So sometimes it doesn't play out in linear time for a hot minute. But what we think can be the worst thing can be the biggest catalyst for success, for opportunity, for doors opening. And sometimes things happen just through brilliant, amazing change, opportunity out of the blue. How is change happening in your life? Is it happening in a breakdown moment? And what is it teaching you? What is it showing? What do you get to change and take the reins back on? Where do you get to fix the short circuits in order to open up something infinite? This is an incredible time. And I want to thank all of you out there and for all the amazing feedback and communication that I receive on a regular basis and your patience with me in responding. I can't always respond to everybody. I try to because that's me and I want to do it thoughtfully, but I hear you, I see you, and I am grateful for you sharing your stories and experiences in all that you go through and seeing your lights turn on, seeing you putting things into practice, seeing each other. That's how change for me works, is not by myself. Change happens through and with other people and my higher self. And gosh, it's a wild ride. So in these changeover years, remember 2024, 2025, 2026, we are in it. We are in it. We are in the chrysalis starting to come out. And it's like we're peeking out, but we're still stuck in the chrysalis. We've like sprouted wings and it's painful. We don't quite know how to fly yet, but we're learning to fly. And that's like growing pains. So, whatever change you're navigating, enlist your support, listen, listen with your whole body, and trust that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are seen, and you are seen by the divine, your support squad up there, and you are equipped. We are all equipped, and we are here for something absolutely magnificent. Take care, everyone. Be well.